We're going to be doing curbside weed treatment with steam. You'll see this white vehicle with flashing lights, City of Dover logo going down the road, and there'll be a plume of steam coming up. This is water only. It's high temperature steam. There are no chemicals that'll be being applied. You see the steam unit go by. I think people are expecting the weeds to die right off. Depending on the weed type and the hardiness of the weed, it could be 2, 3, 4 days. The weed will die off. And then when we sweep it up, get everything out of the way, hopefully we'll have the period of a couple of weeks before the weed tries to come back. As soon as it comes back, we'll be out to treat again. What we're trying to do with the steam is to replace chemical treatments. We usually, on an annual basis, we would go out to bid for pesticide treatments of about 30 miles of curb line. And annually, we would bid to use a standard pesticide like glyphosate. But we've been following court cases where it's been considered a carcinogen. Glyphosate has been very cost effective. We would do about 30 miles of curb line for just over $8,000, $8,500, and that would be 4 treatments a year. We've tried to price out organic alternatives. There are things called like ammoniated soap. There are things that are citrus-based, some that are vinegar-based, but the prices for those would be double, triple, quadruple. So we started to look into using steam. And steam, it's just water, it's regular tap water. It's the least toxic option that is out there. And we're not sure how the costs are ultimately going to compare, but the way the steam works, unlike the chemicals that have a pre-emergent, if you will, you can spray the chemical down, it can linger in the dirt. Before the seed has a chance to sprout, it can kill it. We have to actually allow the weeds to start to grow a little bit because we're essentially cooking. You're cooking the cell structure of the weeds, it kills the weeds. So after we treat it, over the period of 2, 3, 4 days, the weeds will turn brown and die. And then eventually, as they die off, we expect to collect the leaf, the leafy material, the weed material with our street sweepers. Because we're going to be treating along where we have curb lines, so we'll have our street sweepers in the natural street sweeping process. They'll be out a couple of times a week in the abrasion of the brooms and collect everything up so the weeds won't be lingering. The first year, we're going to focus on replacing what we had bid out on an annual basis. And in the 30 miles, we're hitting areas like Central Ave, 6th Street, Locust Street, Back River Road, Broadway, Silver, Henry Law, and Bellamy Road. As we find that it's working effective at these areas, we hope to be able to expand and maybe get into some of the secondary streets where we have all the curbing. But we want to get one good summer under our belt, so to speak, make sure we're being effective time-wise and personnel-wise, and we'll start to generate what it's costing us on a per-mile basis. But we're going to hit these main areas. As we were doing our research, it was pretty clear steam would be effective. Steam would be effective as an herbicide on the weed, but to do it on a large-scale application, considering the amount of miles we have to treat and how fast we can get it done and how cost-effective, we tried to look at models that were already set up and commercially available. And steam treatments are more widely accepted in Europe. They may have slightly more advanced environmental standards, if you will. And looking domestically here in the States, we found some places in California and Colorado that had set up some units. But the European models that we were looking at were in excess of $200,000 to $230,000. And these were providing a platform, a vehicle that would carry the unit and all the technology to apply the steam. We thought if we were going to be able to pull this off, we'd have to be much more cost effective. Sort of issued an internal challenge to our fleet department, our mechanics in particular, sort of jokingly said, I've seen them work on Zambonis with the units that go along the side of the walls in the hockey rink. I said, if they can apply cold water to the side of the hockey rink, we ought to be able to apply steam to curb line. They've modified a nozzle with some spring attachments that'll go along the curb line. I really impressed with their creativity. The fabrication is where they really bring some art to it, and it's very helpful to have that ability on staff. They did a very nice job. They came up with a very creative unit. One of the things our city manager encourages us to embrace technology, innovations, and things of that nature. And then looking through the city's master plan on stewardship of resources, there isn't a specific master plan objective about getting off chemicals for curbside weed treatment, but clearly the master plan for protecting our natural resources, we're looking for sustainable options environmentally friendly, curbing our use of toxic materials, especially toxic chemicals. So it's an initiative we're really excited about, and I think we've had the drive or the challenge or the initiative, from the City Council with their organic turf resolution. We're working on that, and we think this meshes very well. It gets us off the chemicals and one of the things I was thinking about, the people can electively choose to avoid our public turf areas that we treat, and we're trying to get onto fully organic turf. We'll put a little note out that this area has been treated with X, Y, or Z. But where we've done the curbside treatment, we've been going right by people's houses that may want to elect out of chemical treatments. We really haven't been able to accommodate that. It's been, one application, we pretty much have to do everything. So now people should take heart that as we go by and they see this cloud, it's going to be a cloud of just steam. And hopefully that'll give people a peace of mind that Dover is really embracing the environmental and the green concept.